Sorry about that. So I'm back. Kayako, I'm 28 and learning so much from you financially that the love of my life tried to teach me before he gave up and I lost him. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Dark Knight said, when you don't come from a lot, it's hard to adjust to getting a lot. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's hard to adjust to getting a lot. So it's just like that's one battle, right? And then the second battle is the actual battle of like putting that a lot towards debt. So it's like facing both of these at the same time and stepping into what it means to be here at this level. Shandella, Weirdy McWeird Pants. Girl, I love your colloquialisms. Um, Destiny D. Washington said, paid off 200 of my debt today. Cheers to Destiny. Cheers, cheers, cheers. If anybody else has paid off any debt in the last 30 days, definitely put it in here so we can shout it out. Mary Ponder, everyone isn't in the same place on the journey. Some people we connect with, some we don't, some we journey with for a short time, others for longer. Love your authenticity and transparency. Kim P said, please don't feel guilty for increasing your income. Yes, I'm definitely working through that. I don't think the feeling is guilt. I don't feel bad about increasing my income. I feel alone. Dang it, I didn't mean to. Okay, Kim. I didn't know that I was just going to say that, like, my truth that way. But there you have it. That is how I feel. I feel alone. And I think before, when my income was lower, I felt like there were so many people like that were just like me. And now I feel like there are not. And that makes me feel alone. Um, and so it doesn't feel guilty. It feels isolating. Um, and I'm not scared. Like, you know how like when you're scared, like there's a saber-toothed tiger coming at me. I am scared. I don't feel that. I just feel alone. And that's a hard thing, right? Like just had 300 and some odd people live, 132 people are live now. But it's like my income exponentially grew and suddenly I feel alone. Um, and I'm working in therapy to deal with that feeling of, because I don't feel lonely, right? Like I don't feel lonely. I just feel alone. And that is an uncomfortable space for me as it stands right now. Cynthia Ava said, how does your company make $9,000 a month? I have a video where it says how I make money. So just Google how I make money, Stacey Flowers, and it'll be there. Frankie J said, are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. I was just having a bit of an emotional moment there, Frankie. Yeah. I see a lot of you guys saying that you definitely could tell that I was going to succeed, and I think I'm so grateful for that, and I appreciate that, and I think that for the people who obviously all of you all that are saying that, I know 100% that you mean that, and I think that sometimes like intellectually like we'll say, oh yeah, I want this person to win, I want this person to win, but emotionally when we see it happen, it pulls up something in us. So I think that some of the projected comments, the intent truly wasn't to be mean. It just was pulling up something within ourselves that was being shared. So I appreciate so many of you guys saying that you definitely want me to win and that you've already begun to wrap your mind around the idea that like some months my income will be $20,000. Like that's going to be my truth. So if you're following me because you're following me because my income was low, like, then as much as you thought you were following me because you wanted me to win, you weren't. You were following me because I was adding value to you when my income was low. And it is okay for you to say, I am no longer valuable to you. But I need you to know that that's the truth. And there's not this other weird truth that's there's something about me that I'm not doing anymore or whatever. It's just like, no, I was valuable to you when we were similar in income, and now that we're not, I may no longer be valuable to you. And that is a healthy, fine reason to say, you know what, I don't want to watch this person anymore, and I give you permission to no longer watch me anymore because my income is no longer going to be low. um, Paris J said, money is very emotional, just keep holding on. You got it. KG6559, what level of accountability are you comfortable with? You responded very emotionally to comments in the community where we question the increase in spending on items that are wants versus needs. I want that level of accountability. Just go back and forth with me. What I don't want is for you to call me names. Like, that's not okay. What I don't want to hear you say is some form of a projection that's your issue and not my issue. That's it. Everything that happened in the community, like, we get to be emotional in the community section. Like, just because you comment doesn't mean that I have to agree with you. Like, I like that pushback. Like, although the conclusion of that conversation wasn't me agreeing with you, it forced me to realize what was going on with me. And what was going on is I felt really bad about prioritizing a debt over a different debt, which was making me out of order. So it's just like I want just that happened in the community. That was the reason why that comment, like, I pinned it to the top. Like, that is totally fine. Most of the comments that I'm speaking about, did you just send me? No, that's your screen name. I was gonna, sorry. Um, so that's totally fine. I want that level of accountability. You get to question anything. And when I respond, like, you questioning isn't you converting me. I just, like, let's just be clear on that. Like, I'm going to express my opinion. And when I express my opinion, I think that just continue to be respectful in the discourse. Like, if just because I don't agree with you doesn't, yeah, I just thought somebody sent me 2K2 rush hour mommy. Like, that's what I was like, what? Is it? Discourse, and there were a lot of comments that you all didn't see that got really, disrespectful. Like, I'm like, I can't handle being called names. That's just intense for me. Yeah, so yeah, I think and then just prepare yourself for the emotional response. Like, I'm going to be very emotional probably in this next leg of the journey, because this next leg of the journey is a little bit more tender for me and foreign to me. So yeah, but I don't think I'm not asking us to be emotionless. I'm just asking us to be respectful and be kind and to just think before we type. Rebecca said, debt is very hard. It just drains you. You should be very proud of yourself. I am very proud. And I want for the next debt that I pay off to not be filled with mixed feelings. And I think just expressing myself and showing you guys that it's been intense for me will definitely help it from being mixed feelings. So yes, I appreciate you sending me that $18. I definitely thought it was $2,000. That's why I was like, I'm gonna not say anything. I just want to make sure. But I definitely appreciate it. I see that you sent that in yen, which means you are one of my international viewers, and I just deeply appreciate you for supporting my work. T. Gooding, did your accountant have to convince you that you were really making that much? Yeah, my accountant did. Like, my accountant had to reassure me that I wasn't, like, I don't think that I'm doing anything shady. They didn't have to convince me of that. My accountant just had to convince me that, like, the money that was in my account was reconciled. So there was no like outstanding transaction pending. There was nobody that was gonna like request a refund. Like they just had to make sure that I was like very clear, that they just had to make sure they just had to affirm for me that it was signed, sealed, delivered. This money was mine. Like, yeah, they definitely had to do that. Yeah. Um, yeah. Tasha Betty, Stacey, this is my first time posting in the chat. I came here just to tell you congratulations. I feel so proud of you. Almost like I paid off $5,700 in debt myself. We will be here. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Weird pants for a t-shirt. You guys are like, we gonna get these t-shirts. Lois said, I wrote down that my deepest, darkest fear is fear of success. Wow, that really hit me. Yeah, that's what I'm facing. Like, that is the reason I sabotaged myself the first time, because I need to face that. And that's more than just this financial journey, but because the financial journey is a measuring stick for bits and pieces of how I define success, it's showing up in my financial journey. So yeah. I appreciate all my moderators that are in here. Soybean, Fake Rich and Tired. Thank you so much. You guys are doing an amazing job. CC Wash, girl, you're so beautiful. I hope you read this and it makes your day. Everyone just watch and appreciate her smile. You have such a perfect face. I can't believe it. Thank you so much. Reason to Give. We need a tribe name. Oh, that would be so much fun. You guys would have to come up with it. I'm not really amazing at naming things. Buttercup Bunny said, what is your next debt that you're going to pay off? The IRS. I really want to pay off my medical debt, but it's going to be the IRS. I want to say I have like 2,900 left on the IRS, maybe something less than that. Yeah, I want to say 29 to 2,500. So the next debt will be the IRS, and then following that, it will be the negotiated medical bill. Then it will be the new recent medical bill that just came, and then it'll be BCD, and then I'm down to my student loans. Oh, also the other thing that happened this month, you guys know that I had originally allocated $1,600 to put towards my student loans, but my student loans are actually, this is the last month. So next month they actually start. So I was able to pull that back into the budget as well, which is super awesome, and just put it towards debt. So you guys will see that reflected in the budget report card. Yes. Lauren Washington, what's your plan going forward? Tuned in late, so I'm curious as how you prioritize your debts going forward. So yeah, so going forward, IRS, medical, BCD, and then my student loans. And probably when I get to my student loans, because it's such a large chunk, I'm probably going to break it into like maybe chunks of like 10 or 20,000, just so that there are points of like acknowledgement along the way, because I can't foresee myself not acknowledging paying off anything until I paid off the full amount. And it does make up two different institutions, so I'm not for sure how I'll break it up, but something significant like 10 or every 10 or 20,000, we'll call that an acknowledgement of a debt fulfilled, not paid off, but a debt fulfilled, and we'll do a little celebration, because I don't know how I'm gonna feel. Like I perceive that I'm gonna be pretty emotional about my student debt because of the marker that student debt is. And if you haven't seen my how I fell back into debt story, like I talk about that, but because I perceive it's going to be emotional, I'm the closer I get to it, the more I'll think through, okay, what sort of celebration, acknowledgement, moments of pause will I need to do to help me to maintain my momentum? So yeah. Mm-hmm. Boss Lady said, I'm here since day one. I appreciate it. Appreciate that. Destiny D. Washington, growth is not easy. Yeah, and nobody warned you about how much grief is in growth. I'm not going to get emotional again. Nobody warned you about how much grief is in growth. And there is a lot. Jasmine Talbert, I'm so outrageously proud of you. I've fallen off my debt-free journey, but seeing this truly gives me motivation to get back on. Yeah, and when we fall off, we just have to get back up. We just have to get back up. Eloise Jackson, keep up the great work. Please don't answer those questions about what you do with the extra money. You don't owe them explanations. Yes, and I understand that. And so let me explain that a little bit more. Like, I love talking to you guys in the comments. And so I'm trying to figure out, how do I engage with the comments and not actually be affected by the comments that are not awesome, right? Because before now, the comments that weren't awesome, I had enough emotional intelligence to be able to process that. But because I'm moving into a space that's new and uncomfortable for me, it's harder for me to manage that. Overall criticism, I can manage that, but stuff that's still tap dancing on things that I haven't healed yet, like, it's hard to wrap my mind around the fact that I made $9,000 working part-time. Like I'm like, like, I'm still trying to do that. So when people question that, it gets in because I'm leaving the door open. Does that make sense? So I don't know how to be in the community responding to the lovely things that people have to say without letting in some of those arrows, even if they're unintentional, the arrows that hurt. So that's the big thing there. But I'm gonna work on that. PY texting, could you share how you were able to successfully make sure your income was consistent? So the big thing that I did for my company is that I do not spend the money that I earn in the month that I earn it. So for example, January is currently earning money, right? Like, I've received money. My money mindset manual has been selling. My YouTube videos have been getting views. So there's been Google AdSense. I've had a couple of brand partnerships this month. And then I've had my coaching services this month. So I think that's four or five streams of income have been generating money this month. And all of that money is being deposited into my account, like, as we speak. Like, let's just say $1,000 was deposited today. Rather than spending that $1,000 today on January 8th, I'm not going to spend it until February. And what happens is I add up everything that I earned in January, and that is my salary minus my business expenses, etc. That is my salary for February. So I'm never trying to earn in the month that I'm in. And I'm able to keep an income that is consistent because I'm never desperate in the month that I'm earning. So because I'm never desperate in the month that I'm earning, I'm actually available to be creative. Like I'm not desperate this month. Like, if let's just pretend like January is not an awesome month, and for whatever reason I don't make a single dollar. I'm not in a desperate situation technically for this month, because all of the bills that need to be paid this month are coming from what I earned in the previous month. So everything is just like a month behind. So that's one thing that I did. And then the other thing that I did, and this is something that I talk about in the Money Mindset Manual, is I figured out what my survival budget is. Like, what is the bare minimum that I need to survive? Bare minimum, bare bones. What do I need to survive? And then inside of my business, one of my revenue streams makes that amount per month, no matter what. It's the only job of that one revenue stream is to make sure it covers my bare minimums. That's that revenue stream's only job. If it makes more, wonderful. But I don't try to have it make more. I don't put more energy and effort into it. I created something and I said, this is how much money this revenue stream needs to bring in. What do I need to do here to make sure what systems need to be here, what processes need to be here, so that this revenue stream brings in my bare minimum. Once I consistently got that revenue stream, to bring in my bare minimum, then I moved on to creating another revenue stream to bring in more money and more money. But I got really, really clear on what my survival budget was, and making sure consistently my survival budget was covered. And most people don't do that. Most people are like, oh, I want to make $5,000 a month. but you don't need to make $5,000 a month. So you're looking for a $5,000 idea when sometimes really all you need is a $1,500 idea. Execute your $1,500 idea successfully, and then once that is well oiled and moving and doing what it needs to do, move on to looking for a $3,500 idea, and then altogether you have $5,000. So those are the two things I did to make sure my income was consistent. I hope that makes sense. Shanita said, I apologize if I contributed to you being overwhelmed. This is such an amazing platform to help others. My intention was to be constructive. I heart you and I will continue to watch. Even as you, I'm assuming that was going to say increase or grow. I appreciate that. And know this, I was overwhelmed before. That's the reason why that stirred up that emotion. I had it already, and then seeing it only stirred it up more. So it wasn't all on you, but I do appreciate the apology. Fake rich and tired. I've had to be honest. I don't believe that the message that you're delivering right now is going to be for the people who are really here to give positive feedback. I understand, but I think you guys know this. I heal really well from talking out loud, and so I'm like, oh, I did my part. Like, they can't, no one can say good or bad, negative or positive, constructive or whatever. No one can say that I didn't say this is how I would prefer for you to speak to me during this time. I did my part, and so now if I ignore you, if I do whatever it takes to make sure that I'm not pierced by whatever I perceive to be negative, I'm cool with it because I did my part. I shared my piece, kind of a thing. So it was more just clearly my soul was just like, girl, say this. You need to say this. Yes. So yeah, everybody who's paid off a debt here in the last 30 or 60 days, if you can put 1 in the comments below, that would be awesome so we can get you shouted out. Bloom and Blossom said, I want to say this with so much love, Stacey. Alcohol is not the best for ulcers. I know from experience. This is aloe vera water. This is not alcohol. That's why I'm drinking it with a straw. I am not drinking alcohol right now. I know that. Celeste said, if people are being mean about your income, they're just jealous. They are not your audience, and you don't need to worry about keeping them happy. This journey is all yours. I understand what you mean, but there is an aspect of it where they are my audience. Sometimes we're jealous of people because we want that, but okay, this is what I believe about jealousy. The only time you're jealous and you maintain it is when someone has something that you want, but you don't believe you know how to get it. So that's where jealousy sticks in. So definitely they're projecting, but I definitely also think that they are my audience. That's the reason why they were here in the beginning. It's just now they're using jealousy as a reason to fall away when this next leg of information is going to be the best part. It's probably going to be the part that serves them, right? So I totally understand what you mean. Like, there's an aspect of them that they're not a part, but there's another aspect of them that's like, I just showed up on their path to get that out of their way so that they could get to where they wanted to go. So, but I will keep that in mind that, like, this is my journey, not theirs. So Christina Daughtery said, Dave has budget percentage guides. You've always been well under them in all areas and massively over in debt payoff. Your income increased dramatically. Change of income, change of budget. Yes, and I appreciate you pointing that out, because I think that a lot of people, they don't like the numbers overall, but it's just like you guys aren't paying attention to the percentages, and the number is shocking you when the percentage matters just as much as the number. It's kind of like, I think what I'm going to call it, the Whole Foods eyes, where everybody was like, you're ridiculous, you shop at Whole Foods. And I'm like, yeah, but I spend $50 a month. So as much as you would like to think that you're more budget savvy than me, you're not. I'm not less budget savvy because I shop at Whole Foods. You have a problem with Whole Foods. And so I think that anytime people push out that projection of like, you're spending ridiculously or frivolously and they're not really considering all the numbers, I'm just going to call those Whole Food goggles, because you have an issue with Whole Foods, you're claiming something that isn't real, because it doesn't matter what I get from Whole Foods. If all I spend is $50 a month, I'm doing better than most, right? And it's the same thing with like the personal trainer, today, I believe the video I shared, increasing my food budget, etc. It's like, your issue isn't actually with that. Your issue is with something else, but it's easy to call this the issue, right? So, yeah. Yeah, Kiki Hammond, have you looked at? Absolutely. You know, that's one of my favorite books, and it talks about the affirmation is I am in control and I have power over my life. Yeah, I've definitely been saying that. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And the reason I don't feel in control, the reason I don't feel like the power is because the sheer magnitude of my earnings based on my work output is intense, because I've been told my whole life, you got to work full time for that. You got to put in 80 hours for that. You got to do this for that. And to do it, not having done what someone else told me was the script to do it, makes me feel a little bit out of control, makes me feel a little bit powerless, makes me feel like I'm doing something wrong. I know that it's not true intellectually, but emotionally, that's how it feels. It's like I'm bumping up against a paradigm that said, no, this is the only way to make 9K. You at least minimum need to be working 60 hours a week. You minimum need to be working for someone else. Like, you know, so. Fake rich and tired. So wait, you're talking figuratively here. You really have a bleeding ulcer? No, I'm not talking figuratively. Yes, I really have a bleeding ulcer. It's been very intense to go through this transition. Yeah. You've been living so tight, it must be strange being allowed to allocate more in each category and still be on track. Yeah, it is. It's very strange. And it's strange to allocate more to categories, but it's also more challenging because as a CEO, right? Like as the runner of a company, I have to also manage my company growing and my company needs. And that directly impacts my personal finances. So I'm like, it's like managing two things that are foreign, right? Personal finances is foreign to me. Budgeting is foreign to me. I've only been doing it for a year. I've gotten 2 A's out of 12 months, like, you know, so that's foreign to me, but I'm also managing the financial growth of a real company. And so like the way that I care for myself, like I have to care for myself as a CEO of a whole entire company. And I need to care for myself as a human being who is just earning, right? And that's hard because I'm like, you know, like it's just sort of like psychologically, it's a hard sort of thing to measure, like the weight of that. Like I'm not just managing my personhood, I'm managing the weight of my company. So yeah. So it's hard to do that because sometimes the CEO part of me is like, you need a massage, right? But the personal finance part of me is like, girl, you're on a debt-free journey, you know? So it's like this like ping pong match. So yeah. Catrice said, bleeding ulcers are serious. I've been there. Yeah, they're very, very serious. And that's one of the reasons why I didn't want to come on here and share that with you guys. I wanted to be healed from it and in a different place. But to cut you guys out of that part of the journey would be to omit information that deepens the roots of this community. And I don't want to do that. I don't in general like to share the super negative stuff unless I'm through it. But I realize now, like, you know, my rate of getting through things before I shared with you guys was so much higher. Now I think we're going to be really close to going through stuff at the same time, and that's a little bit scary for me. Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely a blessing that I have health insurance. Absolutely. Kendra said, can you please bottle up just an ounce of your discipline and sell it, please? I am so overwhelmed of how your obedience is opening the floodgates of God's blessing in your life. Thank you. Tasha Betty, are you going to do an updated January budget since you accepted the 3,000? Yes, I did it at the end, but I think I'm going to just do a mid-month check-in because the other thing that my accountant helped me to do is realize, like, it makes no sense to not pay myself earlier to get things paid off because every day I'm adding interest. So I think I'm going to do like maybe a January 15th budget update so you guys can see what bills I've taken care of so far, and so on and so forth. So yeah. Kenosha Montgomery said, how are you choosing the debt to pay off first? Is it by priority amount? It is by so part priority, because your IRS bill is supposed to be the priority. You prioritize the IRS over everything because their reach is the greatest. But then after that, it's the smallest balance to the largest balance. That's how that's gonna go. Ooh, nice. We have so many people in the community who have paid off debt. So Joanne Webster, cheers. Nicole Johnson, cheers. Juicy Plum Muram H, the Trendy Minimalist, Kim P. Who else do we have in here? Erica Wilson, Deidre Keating, Connie Lee, Avery Davis, Elena De La Rosa, I see a light, G, Vids, Jacqueline Franklin, Nita Smith, Moon Willow, Rachel Lynn, Diva Africa 7, Teresa L, Linda O, YL Gmail account, Kim Pleasant, Mala Fredericks. Cheers to paying off a debt in the last 60 days. Ding, 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 ding. Deidre. Okay, sorry, Deidre Keating. Cheers, cheers, cheers. If you guys are still in the stream, can you let me know what was the major feeling that you felt about repaying this debt? If you could put paying off this debt into one word, what was that? What word would describe paying off this debt? For me, my word is relieved. Relieved. Relieved, relieved, relieved. Pebbles Leaf, do you have any advice on how to increase your monthly salary through multiple revenue streams? I have a full-time job, but it's not enough for me to meet my financial goals. So yes, I would write a list of all of my talents, and then I would figure out which one of those talents offer the most value. And then I would work on one talent, not all, one talent, and try to produce a profit from that. Yes. Miss Angie Baby. Hi Stacey, my hubby and I completed baby step 2. What? Oh my God, are you so excited? We paid off $49,642.98 of consumer debt in 3 years. Keep up the great work. You're doing it. We're definitely continue to follow your journey. Cheers, 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 Miss Angie Baby. She's debt free. Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. Oh, I'm so excited for you. Naisha Harris, besides the motivational speaking, what else does your company do? So I do influencing, so I have brand partnerships. I do affiliate marketing. I also do coaching, business, life, and budget coaching. And then recently I created another product, Money Mindset Manual, which is on sale at www.staceyflowers.com. But I had other personal development products and services for sale. And then I do events, and you'll start to see more of the events that I do here in 2019. So yeah. Style by Mercy. It really does feel lonely since there are not people in my immediate community who are choosing to live life like this. But now I'm reminded that we are not alone. We are not alone. Style by Mercy. We are not alone in the slightest. Whole Foods goggles. Yeah, like that's what it is. I'm gonna be like, oh, that's a Whole Foods goggle, because you can't possibly look at everything and still see it that way. Like you're looking through Whole Foods goggles. You're upset that it's Whole Foods and you're missing that it's $50. And I think a lot of that happened, you know, in some of the recent videos that I put up. Danny Bay, I'm paying off a loan that my husband and I got for our wedding 5 years ago this weekend. Thank God I can feel the weight coming off my shoulders. Congratulations on paying off your wedding loan. That is amazing. Another t-shirt, Whole Foods goggles. Oh man, I kind of want that t-shirt right now. Like, that of all the t-shirts, that is the one I want right now. Whole Foods goggles, because there's like, I just want people to be like, Whole Foods goggles, what does that mean? And then like, it's like a green shirt with like Whole Foods, and then the O's have goggles in it, like, or maybe like a brown grocery bag. Definitely, people like, that's what we're gonna call it. It's gonna be like hashtag Whole Foods goggles. Because you're missing it. You're missing the scope. And we all do that. Yes, merch is clearly on its way. That's just something that you guys are pushing me into, and I'm happy to oblige. So it's definitely something that I'm working on. Soybean said, oh wait, Greta King said, have you read the 4-Hour Workweek? I have. Soybeans, I get all my veggies from Whole Foods for a family of 4, and it's about $30 a week. Yeah. Once you take those Whole Foods goggles off. Kayla said, I've been struggling with ulcers for many years, and the best thing to do is to not take ibuprofen and to relax. Yeah, so I don't take ibuprofen. I realize I've been leaning over, and you guys have continuously been seeing the mess that's behind me. I don't take ibuprofen. And, you know, we went through the list of all the possible causes, and the only thing that fits is stress. So it's 100% stress, which I became more stressed about, because I'm like, I already work part-time. What more can I do to relieve my stress? But I realized it was just the emotional stress of leaving where I was to be here and sitting in this space of being uncomfortable with feeling alone. So yeah, definitely moving into more relaxing, and definitely being more intentional about my stress management, because I realized that I don't think the stress management is for me personally. I think the stress management is for, I don't have stress management for me as a CEO. Like, I don't have an outlet for that just yet. Nicole, what are your thoughts on paying off a credit card with a low interest line of credit? Anyone is welcome to add their thoughts. Stacey hasn't seen what I when I post this. My thoughts are, I do the debt snowball. A lot of people are a fan of the debt avalanche, and the debt avalanche says put your debts in the order of highest interest rate and pay off the highest interest rate first. I'm a fan of the debt snowball because, I do like the idea of getting small wins. So interest rate doesn't matter to me. Interest rate is a distraction for people who are really wanting to get out of debt. If you want to get out of debt, then interest rate doesn't matter, because you're going to do it as fast as possible. If you want to manage debt, that is when interest rate matters. But I don't take interest rate into consideration. Kenya, I agree. The better you take care of yourself, the better you can show up for your life. Absolutely. Stacey, do you maintain your own business budget, or do your accounts handle all the business related things? So I feel like it's a combination of both. So like, my accountant looks over everything and is like, do these things, and then I do them. So it's all in my account. Like, I don't have to go to my accountant and have them write me a check. It's all in my account, and I can do whatever I want to do. But my accountant, I run my own books, and then that's my book. I run my own little check, my own little Excel budget, but my accountant does the counting software thing, and then just sends me the information, and then I do with it what I'm going to do with it. So, but I'm actually just changing my accountant too. I actually had a meeting with a new accountant today. Not because there's anything that's wrong with my old accountant, but just because the scope of my business is expanding, and so I want to transition into that. I think also that's a lot of where my stress is coming from too. Running a company is challenging when you're a solopreneur, and I am definitely one person that's running it and calling the shots in every which way direction. So making those decisions, it's stressful. So I would say, I think what you're asking me is do I have my money? Every dollar in my account, I'm the only one who's a signer on that card, in that account, etc. Yes. But I do what my accountant tells me to do, if that makes sense. But we don't talk all the time. like twice a month. But I just leave the money alone, so that's why we don't have to talk very often. Um, that may change in the coming year because, again, the conversation about why would you let yourself gain 15 days of interest, like why would you do that if the money is truly properly in your account? So yeah, so adjusting to that as well. Adzimiki said, I've learned so much from you, not just about budgeting, but life in general. You are awesome. Keep up the good work. Even when things get tough, most of us here are totally on your side. Thank you so much. Madison said, I just found your channel and I absolutely love it. Thank you. Buttercup Bunny, do you have a P.O. box so that someone might send you something? Yes, my shipping address is 1364 East 53rd Street, Chicago, Illinois, 60615. So it's kind of like a concierge service, and they just receive all my packages and then I can pick them up from there. Alara Idrera, would you suggest husband and wife to manage debts accounts separately or considering them together? Together. Hear me. I am an unmarried person. I don't know what it means to be married, but together would be my recommendation. My shipping address is 1364 East 53rd Street, Chicago, Illinois, 60615. And the reason I suggest that you do it together is because you're married and like I don't know if you saw my emotional reaction that I just had, but it's just like, I could not imagine being married but feeling as alone as I feel right now, if that makes sense. And I think if you separate your debts and you separate your budget, there's a very good chance that you're going to be walking on a journey alongside someone that you love and also feel alone. That's rough. I could only imagine how it feels to like, because it's different when you feel alone and also no one is there versus you feel alone and someone is laying right next to you. That's intense, and I think that could cause a different type of a problem in your marriage. So I would highly encourage doing it together so that way you guys are both connected. You guys may not both experience the journey the same way, but you'll have accountability to one another. And if you move into a space of being uncomfortable and a negative feeling comes up, or a negative feeling comes up for your spouse, like you guys are able to get through it. Oh man, my screen is being weirdy McWeird pants. I'm still gonna answer your questions even though it's frozen. So some of the feelings: relief, awesomeness, freedom. Can you please get a class in creating a profitable business in your passion? Yes. I'm working on that. I want to maybe set it up very similar to the Money Mindset Manual, where we'll do like 5 days of like live content and then pull it into a membership space for you guys. Scary, liberation, relief. Kim Pleasant said it feels scary. I hear that. Empowering, relief, weight off my shoulders, relief. Energize, alleviating, freedom, excited, euphoria, exciting, responsible. Okay, TPM. Relief, free. I love it. I think it's important to connect to those emotions and to just acknowledge like that every time you pay off a debt, like you might feel this or something better. And for those of us, if you're anything like me and you felt mixed emotions, the positive emotions will come out more the more you continue to keep paying off debt. So yeah, Dolly Obey, any financial advice for those who want to start their own business? I just got here. Don't go into debt to start your own business. I also have a video that's called how I make money and tips on starting a business. I would start there, but I would not go into debt to start a business. Yeah. So start at that video where I give you the 3 tips on how to start a business. LaShawn Cox, will you be doing a vision board video this year? Yep, absolutely. Courtney Fields, merch and the recipe book. You guys are so funny. Yes. Kim Lewis, what are your thoughts about consolidating? You have one payment for all your credit card debts. I don't like consolidations because you miss out on the small wins and it gives you like a false sense of like progress and forward movement. Courtney Fields, are you still doing the water fast? No. The blessing that came out of the water fast is on the first day I was able to know that, like, I was able to figure out what was going on with like my stomach, because my stomach has been upsetting me. If you've listened to my podcast, I talked about it maybe like 3 or 4 weeks ago, but it wasn't until the fast that I was able to realize that something was going on, and then realize that I had the ulcer, the bleeding ulcer. Yes. Juicy Plum, I can testify to the horribleness of feeling alone when you have a spouse. Do it together. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. The screen is frozen, so I'm going to let that be the wrap up. I appreciate you guys so much. Again, second debt paid off. Couldn't have done it without you, and I'm so deeply grateful for you all supporting my work, and I look forward to talking to you